and get started, did you how have things been going since last time? Like, you've seen any improvement at all? Things been going good, bad?
I mean, I've been trying to put a focus on some of the things you told me in terms of positioning, not just throwing my mines out there in no man's land, hoping for something magical to happen.
Uh-huh.
I've been trying to focus on things too, like the enemy, like watching like my counters, like Ash and like McCree, things like that are long distance, like kind of like seeing if like they're using their position well or if I can flank on them,
Hmm.
things like that. Like I've been trying to pay attention more to my counters.
Okay. And has that been going okay?
Um, I mean, I would say it's going better. I mean, I think you'll see it in one of the maps or one of the Lijiang maps. I think it's whichever the one where you're like kind of like inside at the top of a skyscraper.
Yeah,
I
so
forget which one that's called.
So there aren't many counters to characters in this game, right? There's basically like how it works is there's some characters that just do exceedingly good against other characters, but there's nothing to the point in which you there's no character that says if I'm on this character, you cannot be on this character or else you won't do anything, right? Like so for
Hmm.
then there are you can revolve an entire composition around doing that, and then you can probably get to the point of which you can say this character is probably not going to do anything if an entire comp counters you.
Hmm.
But there's no like one specific character that does that. So, for example, Junkrat, I'd probably say his two biggest counters would be Farah and Echo. Though it is still decently doable against them. It's probably like if they are on a Farah Echo, it's like enough of a hassle to where you might want to swap off. But I wouldn't
Yeah.
say that McCree or Ash are particularly any counter to Junkrat.
Hmm.
That would just be like to say that they have more range than you.
Hmm.
But that's not something that is a counter to Junkrat. I'd
Hmm.
probably say you just have to keep in mind that with a lot of different characters, you just play differently against them, right? So you're playing differently
Hmm.
up against McCree and a Ash than you would be up against like a Reaper or a Symmetra, right? It's just a completely different play style that you're going to be going for. So
Hmm.
I wouldn't say that by any means is McCree or Ash are counters, quote unquote, to Junkrat.
Okay.
Okay. So any questions before we started here?
Um, Not really. Just if you see anything just out of the obvious that I'm missing, just go ahead and call it out,
Okay.
just like we did last time.
Sounds good. So I'll just go ahead and get started.
Mhm.
Just be
But,
a minute or so. I'm looking for something to
mhm.
talk about, same as last time.
Mhm.
All right. So in this situation,
Mhm.
something thinking. Um, so we're looking to close the distance, right? Because we've discussed before that we're running a character that prefers close distances. So
Mhm.
here, it might even be more beneficial if we like maybe mined over across and like stood over here, because this would put us much closer to them.
Mhm. Mhm.
Give us better angles to work with. If they come right side, we can still shoot them right side. Pretty much the same thing. If they come left side, we're closer to left
Mhm.
side to be able to actually help out. So I'd probably say maybe repositioning further to the left here as we're engaging might be a good
Okay.
idea. And then that
Using
way,
like different natural cover, basically.
yep. And then just getting closer, whereas here we're just stuck kind of spamming from a distance, which isn't too terrible since we're
Mhm.
hopefully going to be pushing closer soon.
So I guess with what they're running basically with like the Junkrat sim, they're just pretty much wanting to play like almost like a mini kind of bunker comp. It's like
Yeah.
would it be
So
best for me kind of play like flankish kind of or just like off angle?
yeah, so they're right now they're playing a brawl, but they're playing the brawl to point because they're trying to play off of the Symmetra and Junkrat spam. So it's kind of like a weird type of brawl in how they're playing it. But in any case, right, I probably would say yes, you are gonna want to off angle as or at least be in a position to off angle. So probably say like you're gonna find most value if you're up here, and then maybe like you can try to flank around and like do something like this, and then you can just come back
Hmm.
around. Right, really, those are your two options, right? Either you can do it on this side or that side, and then besides that there's not really much else you can do, right? Like there's only so many entrances to point, right?
Yeah.
So you can come on the main, you can stay on the main angle, because like being in a position like this allows you to choose, do I want to be here or do I want to be here, right? Basically you have
Mhm.
the decision between both of them, whereas if we're all over here we don't have that decision, and then we're also playing really
Mhm.
far away, which doesn't play to Junkrat's preferences and range.
Mhm. Okay.
So as of the moment, especially like when we see our entire team is pushing in, this is where we want to
Mhm.
be getting closer, right? Because I think we discussed the range last time in just that,
Yeah.
first off, mine is going to be so much easier to land. Normal, just your everyday normal shots, just inherently because their projectiles are going to be much easier to actually aim and land when we are in closer range to people, right?
Mhm.
We can't use trap at all from that distance. So overall, just our entire kit is yelling at us to get closer to them, and here we're kind of sitting really far away.
Mhm.
Even like here, we're just sitting far back. Oh, all right. Here, yeah, okay, so there we just need to be aware of the Junkrat because Junkrat
Mhm.
comes in on the side, flanks us, and kills us. Actually, real
Mhm.
quick, I'm just gonna because we have notes, so I'm just gonna glance at the notes and see what were the main points. So last time we had positioning is number 1, mechanics
Mhm.
number 2, survivability number 3, ability usage number 4, awareness number 5, and then ult usage number 6.
Mhm.
So here, just staying alive, make sure we're paying attention to Junkrat because obviously we can contest him better if we are paying attention to him and looking at him.
Mhm.
One moment, I need to go turn off an alarm on a phone behind
No,
me.
you're good. You're good. You're good.
All right, sorry, I'm back.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good.
Okay. Oh, I like that angle.
This bomb's for you.
Though that one was a little bit of a iffy mine of like just you
Mhm.
like we've discussed. It's like a lot of mines we want to make sure we're like getting more concrete value instead of just
Mhm.
chucking it in there. That was like a mine
Mhm.
where it's like very low likelihood that it's actually gonna do very much in
Mhm.
comparison to like maybe using a mine to just get cut over the void and get to mid or something like that.
Yeah.
Now that's a more acceptable mine because it wasn't like a blind mine and it was
Mhm.
much easier to aim. That
Yeah.
last one, we were just chucking it in from a mile away where we couldn't even see anything. Here we
Mhm.
can obviously see it, people, and we could aim it a lot better, and we actually got a lot of damage out of it. So,
I was hoping to get the BAP there with that because he was so far up.
mhm. So that one was much better. Here, I think maybe we're playing off of an ultimate. Yep. Okay, so this is much better positioning to where we were last
Mhm.
time. Trap before we ult. I think we talked about that last time, but just
Yeah.
very tiny thing. All right. Unfortunate. So we end up getting the Immortal ends up getting us. So basically, we had to pay attention to what things can counter our ultimate, right? So paying attention
Mhm.
to the fact that they have immortality and making sure that we are not letting immortality stop it, right? So here, like we kind of have to gauge the situation. If we
Mhm.
can detonate our ultimate right away, then we don't have to
Mhm.
worry about immortality. So for example, let's just say hypothetically speaking, we got a flank in and we came behind them and we had a tire like right here and all we had to
Mhm.
do is just turn the corner in like half a second and boom we detonate, right? So the time from pressing Q to detonation is
Mhm.
like half a second to a second, right? Baptiste has
Yeah.
very little reaction to time to react to that, whereas here, right, the time from pressing Q to actually blowing up and detonating is more like 2 seconds, and Baptiste can
Mhm.
see it coming because it's coming
Yeah.
from the front, which means that he has a lot more time to react to it, right? So you press the button, makes the sound 1, 2, right? two
Yeah.
seconds roughly, right? So there's a lot more time for Baptiste to react. So when Baptiste has
Mhm.
more time to react, you might be better off waiting it out.
Yeah, just
So
driving it against the wall or
yep,
something.
exactly. Driving against the wall, you already know that tech, right? That'll mute the
Mhm.
sound, make it confusing as to where it's coming from. Sometimes people try to come kill you, and then you can kill them as in
Mhm.
in turn. And then also on top of that, you can just wait out immortality if they were to throw it,
Mhm.
because then that ends up just not really doing anything. Good mine though, very good mines. Right, and we actually are using them to finish off targets, which is good.
Yeah. I was trying to really focus on using the mines
Mhm.
as a way to kill people. I know
Yep.
that was one thing we talked about a lot.
And as you see from this last fight, it's very effective. All right. so let's see.
All right there, so
Do
hoping
a
to get
more,
a quick little pick. Yeah.
yeah, do a bit more spamming. We're not really
Mhm.
spamming as much as we could be. Like
Mhm.
even during this whole time, we should be just shooting in there, doing damage, getting ult
Mhm.
charge, but maybe getting a potential pick. So like here during this entire time, we just count the seconds that we end up wasting, right? So like we're
Yeah.
rotating over here, we see him. Okay, so we shoot, and then it's 1, 2, 3,
Here we go.
4, 5, 6 Mississippi, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so we just basically spent like 8 to 9 seconds doing nothing when we could have been spamming, which in that
Mhm.
time we probably could have gotten like 30% on our ult, right? Something like that. So
Mhm.
we want to make sure we're getting in spam damage, and then also that what that does for us is it pressures out, pressures out abilities. We can break, and this drains the resources as they're trying to push you, right? We want
Mhm.
to be getting out as much damage as possible because that can potentially bait out bubbles that can drain their shield health, that can drain everyone's normal health, right? Because people can be walking into the fight low health. They could
Mhm.
potentially need to use other abilities, right? So just overall, it's just draining a lot of resources from them. Whereas here, we're not doing that, right? So just be
Yeah.
spamming the entire time they're walking in.
And so wasn't what you said before, like actions per minute or something?
Yep, exactly, right.
Something like
Actions
that.
per minute, right? And then there we're just kind of sitting around, not being efficient, right? So it's kind of
Mhm.
efficiency of making sure we're doing things constantly and not just kind of sitting around not doing anything.
I got you.
Fire in the hole! You feel that? I have found the
Okay. Don't just run away from the tire, especially as
Mhm.
like a Junkrat, because it's very, very easy for Junkrat to kill tire, right?
Yeah.
Because your mine can one shot it
Mhm.
and your left click can one shot it, right? Both of
Mhm.
them can one shot tire, and it's decently easy to hit because it's a big radius in your mine. So we want to just make sure that we're putting. We're looking around for it, and that could potentially keep our team alive. Besides that, just walking into this fight, we're sitting like we're not giving ourselves good angles. Like we have a shield right in front of us, like, and we probably could do this where we can just see
Mhm.
absolutely everything and shoot down this. But instead, we're taking this like side angle, and we actually can't even see very much. Like we're trying to bounce off the wall, which doesn't actually do anything. So basically this whole time, we're not really doing very much.
Mhm.
Okay.
The hunter lays a trap for his prey.
Yeah, they had beats, so that didn't do anything. Yep. So the big thing during that fight was our lack of impact, especially at the very beginning, because we just didn't do anything for the first,
Like 10
15
seconds.
seconds,
Yeah.
yeah, of the beginning of the fight, right? All right. So here,
This bomb's for you!
paying attention to our health bar. So here we take a bit of damage, requesting healing, but then also there's like health pack like right next to us, like as we're
This
pushing
bomb's for
in.
you!
So we don't want to be going in at 100 HP when there's a health pack like right there, right?
Yeah.
So then besides that, I do like the idea to come over here. Very nice kill. Place a trap real quick just in case anybody tries to push you. You have
Mhm.
a trap there, right? So, Zarya turns around and starts to shoot at you. She walks towards you, she gets trapped, right? That sort of
Mhm.
thing, that idea. So, probably want to be placing a trap at the moment.
And right there, I was trying to
Hmm.
go for the cheeky double, and then he turned around and
Yeah.
got me.
Yep. So the issue the issue here is that they know it's coming. So with a lot of ultimates,
Mhm.
so like Reaper ult, Pharah ult, even
Mhm.
in our Junkrat ult, right? If
Mhm.
they know it's coming, it's
Mhm.
usually not gonna do a whole lot, right?
Mhm.
It's not gonna get as much value, right? Because when they know
Mhm.
it's coming, they're able to react to it. They're able to see it coming. They can shoot it and stun you and whatnot, right?
Mhm.
So here, for example, like they know we're here because we just shot at them for the past like 6 seconds. So obviously they know
Mhm.
we're here, right? They heard us, they saw
Yeah.
us, that we're on point out in the open, and we're also capping, right? So they're going to be turning around the point to get it, and therefore Tyre gets killed, right? So we want to make sure that usually when we're trying to go for Tyre, that we're being sneaky with it. It's a surprise. Either we need to go in fast with it, or we need to be
Mhm.
sneaky, right? And usually even when you're going in fast, it's sneaky. So pretty much overall, if you're not being sneaky with your tire's not going to do anything, right? So
Mhm.
examples of this would be to come into the fight and then immediately tire, right? And be sneaky up until the point at which you're tiring. If you yourself cannot be sneaky, so think for example this fight where we were very obvious of what we were doing. Like we had to because we didn't have tire yet, right? Back 5 seconds ago we didn't have tire, so of course we had to do something, and we were having an
Mhm.
impact and we were doing things, which is good. So if we
Mhm.
can't be sneaky, then we want to make sure that our tire specifically is sneaky, right? So either we
Mhm.
need to be sneaky or our tire needs to be sneaky. If
Mhm.
we are being loud and active, then what we need to do here is after we get our tire, right, instead of pushing in and getting on point, we should back up, place a trap,
Mhm.
right? Get around the wall, even maybe like if you want to, you can go this far, but probably say this is
Yeah.
fine, right? Tire, right? Now, once we get tire up, you can either run it into the wall and wait a couple seconds, like, make them be confused as to where it is. You can start to climb this thing, which I'm actually not sure how well it'd climb that. I don't think that you can get over that lip,
Yeah, I don't
but
think you can because of the
yeah. But
degree
in any
it's
case, you
at.
can climb up here and maybe come around the top here. Like, what are they
Yeah.
gonna do to to it if it's
Mhm.
like coming from a weird
Mhm.
angle like this, right? Like they can't really react to this nearly as well as when you're doing it right in their face, right?
Mhm.
You can come through the window and wrap around. You can maybe do a long wrap around right side or something like that, right? Really, it's being sneaky with your tire. If you are not being sneaky with yourself, or if you want to, you can also be sneaky with yourself by like getting behind them or to the side of them or anything like that, right? So does that make
Mhm.
sense in terms of
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
getting our ultimate off? Because most of
Mhm.
the time we want to do that, whereas here we don't, and then they just see it coming from a mile away and they're able to destroy it and kill us, right? So we lose an ultimate and we die.
Takes a licking.
No, I think this is the last fight for the map, I believe.
Mhm.
My ultimate is ready. Stop me if you've heard this one before. Fire at will.
Okay. Making sure that there's been a couple times now where teams been walking to the fight and we've been lagging behind. Make sure we're walking in
Mhm.
with our team. Again, noting positioning wise, we're just really far in the back, right? I'd definitely say positioning wise. I
Mhm.
think I don't know what were the main points with positioning last time. If I just quickly scan through them. So
Um,
yeah.
what were the main points? I think it was putting yourself in a spot where if we're alting or if we're being pushed, we can get help from the team. I think it was. I think it was. I was playing too much on my own. I think it was last time you were telling me.
Yeah.
I guess what it was.
So if I were just to go over the notes real quick and review some of it, right? It's use cover and hug walls to negate damage, right? So cover usage. We talked about high ground usage. We talked about repositioning in between fights, but then also not taking long rotations and flanks in the middle of a fight. But you do
Mm-hmm.
want to take, alternatively, you do want to take off angles and even in the middle of a fight, and then you can take flanks in between fights, right? And then also with junk positioning to where we're much closer to the team, right? And then and then we're mid-range characters, so playing kind of 5 to 25 meters as a preference,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I probably say we're doing a lot better with most of those. The only thing that's really the problem here is that we're still not getting close to the fight, because notice the distance. This is much further than like the 25 meters, right? And we're not
Mm-hmm.
putting ourselves close to the fight. Whereas here, if we are here, this is like 2 times better, right? Because we're actually able to
Mm-hmm.
do things from here, right? And we have the off angle option, right? So that's just the big thing here at the moment, is that we keep kind of repeating the range even on when we're defending.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And there we didn't shoot a Symmetra even when she was shattered. Right, we just kind of looked away. Right.
And there's that, and then we have the other two maps.
Teleporter online.
Whew. All right. I very much like that we predicted that they would be going for the telly, or did we even? I can't remember if we saw. No, we didn't see. So I
No.
very much like that we were aware of that. That was potentially their
Mhm.
strat. Because
Yeah.
look at this massive value we just got out of that.
It gets better too.
Yeah, look, their entire team. Ho 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 ho. Massive. All right, very well played.
Iron fire.
Team kill.
Now, something you can do,
Hmm.
if predicting they might do a similar thing, is
Hmm.
just place a trap up where the telly is, because you can trap. That you can stand there. That's a place where you can stand and trap and
Hmm.
whatever, right? So that might be a place where you might want to trap, or
Hmm.
potentially even if you wanted to at some point here,
Hey,
like
where'd you
we
go?
might, if we're expecting them to go back up here, maybe we can mine, get up in the window. Or maybe like get up and like in this window, we can like spam from here, and then they might not see us, so they might not contest it, right? Because from this angle they can't, from all the way over here they can't see this, right? And then they
Hmm.
come up and we just spam them from right next to them, right? That's sort of idea, right?
Yeah.
We can even get up there if we wanted to run over and take the TP, though we can just
Go
mine
back
up
down.
too.
Oh, that's a good spot.
And
The
I forget who it was. It was me or someone was supposed to be kind of like on TP duty,
Mm,
just in case they do TP in that same spot.
yep.
Stop me if you've heard this one before.
So I do like we're being a lot more controlled with our mines, so I have seen more
Hmm.
mine improvement. Though here in this situation, we did go for 2 spammy
Hmm.
mines, and I would just say
Yeah.
maybe cap it out at like try to have one as a backup, right? But if
Yeah.
you need it for something, right? If you need it for mobility, if you need it to finish off a kill, I'd go for 1 spam, let it recharge, go for another spam, let it recharge, right? That sort of thing. Because here we go for 2, and then now if we need it for a kill or we need it for mobility, we don't have it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of same thing there. Or sorry, in that case, that's different. Sorry, I messed that up. But this is
Mhm.
different because I think we're trying to get a kill out of that one.
Yeah. I was trying to go with the sim there,
Yep. Okay.
and I thought they were going to push, and that's why I went back to that corner because I was
Yep.
going to tire.
Looking retired.
Fire in the hole.
quadruple kill.
Very massive. So a couple things, right?
Hmm.
Just slightly more efficient. Very good with it. But a couple things more would be placing trap right next to us. But then
Hmm.
also we knew that we were going for it, but we like peeked back like 3 times. Like
Yeah.
okay. So we come over in the corner, right? We back up. We come over into the corner, and then we aren't noting that we aren't crouching to muddle our footsteps, which can make it, which can help people to be thinking in their heads, Junkrat's somewhere, Junkrat's maybe in the corner, something of that sort, right? So just
Hmm.
crouching so that they're less aware of us. And then besides that, we repeat once, and we back up, and then we repeat a second time, and then we back
Hmm.
up, and then I think we maybe repeat here in a second, and then we kind of repeat like halfway. Right, we repeat and then we do this thing where we come back out in the open where like people can, like Zarya could see us and Lucio can see us, right? And Junkrat can see us as well. So we did a repeat like 3 times. So if
Hmm.
anybody was paying attention to you, which will happen at the higher up in ranks you go, they would have
Yeah.
seen you, right? Like Zarya here could have very well potentially seen you here, right? Sorry, I can see you on her screen here, right?
Hmm.
Going to Junkrat's screen, Junkrat can see you here. Lucio's screen, Lucio just passed you like half a second ago, so
I
he
am
should know that you're
loving
there,
this.
right?
Speed boost.
So he can hear you. He missed you, right? But he could hear
Hmm.
you there. So 2 people can see you. Everybody can hear you. Um,
Hmm.
Pretty much just culminates in this is a situation where you get away with it because you're at a lower rank, right? Whereas if you're
Yeah.
trying to play at a higher rank, you want to play as if you're playing up against higher ranks opponents because you're not going to be
Hmm.
able to hang with higher ranks if they hear you or see you and then they just kill you here and you don't get a big tire, right? So very nice with the tire.
Hmm.
Couple different things to do to be a little bit more efficient with. And then we also, just another thing is that we're shooting as well, right? We here, like right before we tire, we shoot, and then everybody on their team should have seen that shot
Hmm.
go across and hear it, and then that's another indication that you're here, right?
Hmm.
Quadruple kill.
All right.
It's all coming
I
up.
like the instant detonation though. That's good.
And yeah, I think right here is where they put me on a TP duty
Mm,
just to watch because they still hadn't swapped.
mm. Right, which I would probably say that you can be on TP duty while still being able to participate. Like we could be up here, like I said, we could be up here or here where we
Mm-hmm.
can still see them, and this might even
Mm-hmm.
prevent them from wanting to TP through if we were doing something
Mm-hmm.
like this. But like we can do stuff from here. We can also, even if we're like right here, we can still see them and shoot at them. But I guess the idea maybe would be that if you were if they were this way, they would just shield this way. Is that maybe the idea? And you can shoot them from behind the shield or something like that. But you can still, for example, like if you know they're TPing, maybe we could
Mm-hmm.
still trying to think here. Like we can position like right here-ish, or we can shoot over the top and then re-peek in like half a second to shoot at them above if we hear it, something like that. I would just say that's definitely just something where we don't want to just be doing absolutely nothing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh yeah, so we do come over here. That's better, but we also don't react a little bit slowly to the TP, right? And then we kind of
Mhm.
neglect our job there a bit.
Yeah, I was trying to get. That's a spot where I know to get like easy ult charge there.
Okay, trap. We never replace trap. I don't even know. It's not an online right now, so we make sure we're using trap. Especially like if we know they're all gonna be TPing in the point, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so big thing there is just awareness. We didn't realize that they TP'd to the point that really got us screwed.
Mm-hmm.
And then besides that, let's see. Once they TP in the point and they see us, and we see like three people running at us, I wouldn't be trying to fight them. I would be back mine health pack, right? Something
Yeah,
like
I
that.
was trying to use the mine for boot back,
Mm,
just to like separate me and the closest person.
mm. Which here that it does confuse them a little bit, and then we also run back in, right? Which then ends up getting
Uh,
us, yeah.
yeah, that's because my team was running in and they were wanting me to kind of hold them on the side.
Yeah. So, yeah, in that situation, just a couple misplays.
Let them out.
Okay. So, thinking. So we didn't have tire yet, so we just got tire. Again, make sure when we're tiring, it's not in the open, right? We've seen so far this
Mhm.
game, this is the third tire that's done nothing, right?
Mhm.
The third tire that's just been like here, it just gets interrupted because we're kind of standing on the open. There's no surprise advantage here because every single person on their team sees you. Everybody knows where you are. Everybody can
Mhm.
see at you, see you shoot at you, and then the tire's just not gonna do anything, right? So now this is third tire out of 4 that hasn't done anything. When,
Mhm.
for example, let's say we had like maybe kited back a little bit, we could just retreat to
I
the
can,
exact
yeah,
same
right,
spot,
yeah,
right?
same spot.
Kind of thing, right? Whereas here we're just not in a good spot at all to be doing this. Just bad positioning, and then also just out in the trying to do it out in the open.
Oh, turn it up. Please,
That was horrible tracking there. Yeah.
Whiffing a bunch of our shots, and it's aiming on Junkrat is less about tracking and more about prediction, right, of where they're
Yeah.
going, unless you're right next to them.
Reality bends to my will.
I'm gonna assume this one. Yeah.
And then yeah, this,
in my jam.
yeah, they kind of screwed the TP there on me.
Yeah, it sucks. Oh, very massive.
Yeah, I remember that specifically. Ryan called for everyone to rotate main, and I was kind of hoping, what you call it, that the enemy team, like the Ryan, would shift his shield over. So I was just giving it like half a second, and I would knew I'd get at least one free nade mine combo.
Yep, just taking a good off angle there, so it's a good idea.
The hunter lays the trap for his prey.
Very nice. Probably say stay on that angle. I don't think coming to point does anything for you here.
Mhm.
I'd request healing though. That is something I would do. Make sure we're
Mhm.
paying attention to our health bar because we are,
Yeah.
only down to 120 right now, so we want to get healed back up. But there's probably no reason to run the point because it's also just noting that it just puts us through this long open stretch where we're just running through the open, right? So this
Mhm.
entire time we're just out in the open, which is not good positioning at all for you to be on the open. And then also on being on the side here acts as an off angle, which from this off angle we've gotten like two kills from,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Anyone else want some?
Oh, trouble, huh?
Okay, placing down a trap in the fight, right? Just because trap's not existent. So just making sure,
Mhm.
like with trap, really most of the time the big thing with trap is just make sure we're using it.
This bomb's for
Mhm.
you.
Because sometimes you just kind of forget about it and don't place it, just because it opens up for free kills whenever we do get something in it.
Push her. Get in here. You hear that?
Okay, positioning a little far away from the fight when we want to be
Mhm.
more so like right next to Reinhardt type of deal
Mhm.
with in terms of positioning.
Let them
Just
off.
kind of the
Yeah.
range again. Good.
Yeah, I think right there I was expecting after the shatter that Lucio was going to speed boost them.
Mm.
Like he was going to rotate back at speed. I think that's what I was expecting.
Yeah, which also in this instance, like right, like even if they were to do that, right, like we prefer
Yeah.
that close range. So even if they were to speed into us, like we like that range. But then on top of that, we also have mines to just escape with if needed, right?
Yeah.
And we also, if we want to, we can also just place a trap right in front of us, and then boom, the first person to run at us gets trapped, right? So
Mhm.
Junkrat does not need to fear being run at in most
Mhm.
instances, especially when he's a whole team with him. Now, if you're sitting off in a room by yourself, like over here, and 6 people are running at you, obviously run away. Right? I'm not saying
Mhm.
that you can win that, but it's more so like Junkrat doesn't have to be super scared of just their like they're gonna come towards me type of deal.
Get inside.
Okay,
Oh, just
Let them off.
here.
and still want to be getting a little closer. Team's like all the way up there fighting, and we're just, I guess,
Mhm.
yeah. In this instance, I'm trying to think. I
Mhm.
think, yeah, probably say still. Probably want to be closer there just to help and assist with the fight. All right, now that does get stuff, but again, it's kind of the same thing of
Mhm.
like every
Mhm.
time so far that we've gone for an ultimate, it has not been sneaky, right?
Yeah.
Or yeah, so like not a single one has been sneaky, and then therefore most of them have not gotten value. And this, I feel like, is another one where like they should have gotten this
But-
right.
Yeah.
They did just use immortality, so it means that they don't have immortality, but they can fire strike it. They can,
Mhm.
Junkrat has mine, so they probably should be able to very easily delete this. And then on top of that, they also they don't have bubbles. Okay, so
Mhm.
they're out of resources, and I think that's why this actually does stuff.
That's probably like in my head. That's probably why I did it. To be honest.
Mhm. So trying to think. Honestly, yeah. I mean that definitely. I can't critique that nearly as much as I can critique some of the other ones. So I definitely
Mhm.
say that one was more so like that one was a good one with maybe just a very slight notion of just maybe try to keep it sneaky. But
Mhm.
besides that, that was very that was pretty good. Yeah, because you also hold off the attack with that.
This bomb's for you.
Okay. In between every fight here when you're on defense, I probably want you rotating to take this, right? Because from
Mhm.
over here, we can spam down any direction they're trying to come from, right? They go
Mhm.
right side, we got them right side. They come here, we got them through here. They come down main, we got them through here, right? We can shoot through all three of these different angles. Down
Mhm.
main, we can shoot through one direction, right? And
Yeah.
it's not even a really fantastic angle. If they were to go main, this also acts as an off angle to the main angle, right? So probably want us to be over in that right side positioning. So again, just other positioning things. Sitting
Mhm.
like really, really far away from the fight. Okay, we do get a little bit closer. Trap, I wouldn't just plop it there. I probably put it more so like we could put it like right behind this, where like again, we don't put it in places where they can't see it immediately, so someone might like walk through, not see it, and then accidentally walk into it or like back up into it, that sort of thing.
Mhm.
So we can place it like right behind this. We can place it right around this corner, like right here. We can place
Mhm.
it right here on the stairs because somebody walks forward and to the left and then they're trapped. Someone walks up and to the right and they're trapped, right? It's
Mhm.
probably stairs would probably be one of the best places to have it. Right at the very top of the stairs, like right around this corner, right? Just probably all really good trap spots just all along here, right? But instead we just kind of plop it out in the open where it's very easy to see and then therefore easy to dodge and or destroy. Okay. Awareness of the fact of just we knew that they were just there a second ago and we don't hear them anymore and we're not doing any damage when we spam. So where are they probably at? Where could they be? Right? We're just thinking in our heads. Where? Okay, so we do think that. That's really good.
Yeah, I was expecting Junk to go up top and maybe tire. That's why I kind of did that there.
Oh, let's break it.
I better get a fiery because I'm on a roll.
Step inside. Stay alive.
Огонь по готовности.
And then right there, I was kind of following my Rhine wherever he went.
Yep, very nice.
The hunter.
Okay, good trap spot. Oops. Need to skip there. Right there.
Right there. I thought I had tire there. I was clicking in. I was like, fuck.
Yeah, this is a situation where I think we are trying to be sneaky, but then I probably would just get out of the corner. Like, there's no reason to be standing like right here when we could like come over here and then be good. Or I might even try to like sneak behind them maybe and get even closer that way. But I think just getting around the corner and waiting, right, probably be the best idea. Crouching too, right, and that way Zarya doesn't just turn and see us immediately. Oh, massive.
Right here, I know they're going to stall.
Yeah, massive. Okay. So good game. Honestly, we did really well on that. Just, couple misplays, probably say especially like tire was one of the bigger things. So just making sure we're getting value with more tires. Let's see, next one then.
Okay, yeah, making sure I sent you the code.
Arriving at
And in Gibraltar, this was the one. I don't think I played Junkrat at all. I don't think. I think I played Ash and Kree, which you're in for a treat on.
So yeah. So we are going to we have like 14 more minutes to do this. Not sure if we're gonna have too much time on any of them. Like, I feel like going over one of them might be better than trying to go over both of them. Do you have maybe one or the other that you'd prefer to go over?
Probably McCree.
Okay.
I don't think I do really enough Ash really. I'm more of like the projectile, as you can kind of see with Junk.
Alright, so let's go back to when we swap.
Yeah, you can do here on this push, yeah.
Payload moving forward.
Barrier is unstable. Hold on.
Right. So two things there. First off, when you're close to someone, first off, request healing. Secondly, when you're close to someone on McCree, you want to flash at the floor, because if you try to flash forwards, then what happens is if you miss, it just goes sailing past them. Whereas if you flash at the floor, it detonates off of the object that it hits, so it detonates off the floor and stuns them when they're right on top of you, right? So here we want to flash the floor, and then on top of that, we also immediately go for a right click onto her. Whereas
yeah, I was hoping it was gonna hit her. That's why I did that.
Yep, which most of the time we can discuss like when to left click versus right click I guess if we need to on other characters, but Tracer especially, almost every single time you flash a Tracer, it should be a headshot. You should be trying to go for a headshot because it's such an easy flash one tap kill that you don't want to go for right click most of the time.
Now, hold on.
Okay, good job grabbing the health pack there. That's good. Now, sensitivity-wise, because I don't think it matters nearly as much on Junkrat, because he's not a hit-scan character, you're not going to need to hit very precise headshots with him. But can you remind me of what sensitivity we were working with? I remember that... yeah.
I'd say after last VOD, I did go to that video and I did change it. I'm at probably on McCree, I'm probably 1500 DPI and probably 7 sensitivity, something like that.
Okay.
Somewhere in that ballpark. It's not the 1500 DPI and 30
Yep.
sensitivity I was before.
Yeah, which is definitely much better. Though I would still say that it is a pretty decently high sensitivity. Like that's roughly like 3 times what mine is, right? So if I were
Okay.
to do one 360, you would be doing a 360s. I don't even know what that adds up to, but right, 360
Yeah,
times
I
3,
get
right?
what
So
you're
it's just
saying.
it's just a pretty high sensitivity, which just means that it's going to be specifically hard to hit really precise shots such as headshots right on DPS, which is what we want to be hitting on characters that can't hit headshots. So that's just one thing I would know is maybe looking to lower it even further than what you have it at. But again, that's slightly preference based.
Mhm.
Here make it your effort, like especially like when once we grab the health pack. Do your best to try to make it out of this isolated room off with people. So we move
Yeah.
off to the side. We start to get healed. But when we're backing up, we back up to away from our
Mhm.
team, right, kind of into
Mhm.
this corner, and then we do roll backwards, and then we walk back forwards, and then we go backwards, and then we die, right? So,
Yeah, I was hoping my hog was gonna peel for me quicker than he did.
which we want to make sure we're running towards a team to make it easier for them to peel us, right?
Yeah.
It ain't my
Let's get you back in the fight.
That'll get it done.
Burning them down. Next target.
Very nice.
Overclocked and on fire.
Barrier. It's fracturing.
Adjusting out. Cadence.
Easy.
No, almost.
I tried to go for the tap there.
Heroes never die.
Right there. Tracer had me there.
Okay, make sure we're requesting healing, watching our health bar when
Mhm.
we're ulting, because we are ulting when we're only 100 HP, right, which is not a very good thing. So I think a lot of times with awareness, we've been not noticing our health bar, so make sure we're paying attention to that thing, right? We know once we take damage, we're glancing at it, right? So here we see there's a big old monkey on top of us. We see
Mhm.
damage indicators right next to our crosshair. We see damage on the very top of our screen and on the bottom left of our screen. And we also see our health bar taking down, and we hear us taking damage, and we see monkeys on top of us. So all of this is indications that we need to look at our health bar, and yet there's a lot of times where we don't look at our health bar, right? So we want to make sure we are paying attention to the fact that we're low,
Heroes never
and then
die.
therefore making better decisions accordingly.
Mhm.
What?
Okay, very nice.
Round one. Ready for battle.
And then I believe I'm Kree, I believe all of defense.
All right.
Ready for battle.
Doo-doo-doo. I would recommend if like this is you said this is your team, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Probably have you guys position up here. It would be much better for you guys to be positioning. Are you familiar with
I'm,
how to get up there?
yeah, with
Mm-hmm.
the I don't know what you'd call like the containers there or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I was
Yep.
just trying to think with McCree's nerf if it might be better to play where I'm at there, like with the
Mm,
or with the distance or whatever.
probably not because up top, a lot of the times like they're gonna try to come to us once they like if they don't contest this. If they do contest this, then they come to your range. If they don't contest this, then you can off angle with your mercy and just shoot at them from above within your range. Other than
Hmm.
that, like the distance from like I guess the distance from here to here is probably only like a 5 meter or so different
Hmm.
distance, right? You can also contest people who come this way easily. I'd probably say, especially like if you're being damage boosted by a mercy, that in which
Hmm.
it looks like you probably are going to be, you're probably not going to feel too big of a problem, and I would still probably recommend taking the better positioning over just being
Hmm.
a little bit closer.
I got you.
Observe the... You're fully healed.
Okay, and then when we don't hold high ground, something like that happens where they just like take it from us.
Hmm.
You're fully healed. Observe the barrier.
All right, so it's like kind of hard to see because we're shaky and I can't super see it well with our aim just because of the high sensitivity. But I think that I'm also noticing that we're not keeping good crosshair placement.
Justice
I'm
ain't
gonna
gonna
assume that we
dispense
haven't talked about
itself.
that since we were on Junkrat last time. But are you familiar with what crosshair placement is?
That'll learn you.
Double
I mean, I feel like I do. Just
Knock
it's
'em
kind of
down.
more so like tracking, I guess. So it would kind of be like keeping it where you want to aim at.
Smart,
Yeah, so
don't
crosshair placement is placing your crosshair in the best place possible to hit the easiest shot. So you want to place it where you want,
That'll learn
or
ya.
where it's going to be easiest to hit shots. And basically, the first major step to doing that is making sure that we're constantly aiming head level, right? I'm noticing that we're not really doing that super well, and which is kind of hard to see because we're adjusting up and down a lot, which again isn't maybe something we should be doing like a super ton. Only situationally when we need to, such as somebody be on high ground or low ground or jumping or be using movement or whatever, right? Then there's gonna be situations where we do it, but we want to make sure we're keeping our crosshair at head level, right? What this does for us is obviously headshots do a lot more damage. Usually it's like twice the
Yeah.
amount of damage, right? So we're doing basically twice the amount of damage if we're hitting headshots. So we want to hit headshots. Now, if we aim at body level and we walk around aiming body level, right? What this does, it means we have to adjust more to hit headshots. We are just going to naturally be hitting body shots, right? We were shooting down a corridor, we're shooting into
Never had
shields,
a chance.
and we hit body shots, right? Now, if we're aiming head level, we just kind of naturally hit headshots, right? We're just doing the exact same stuff we've been doing, but now it just kind of comes naturally because we're just aiming there already, right? So we want to make sure we're aiming there, and it's just going to make our shots much better for hitting headshots, right? On top of that, second step would just be aiming where we know people are going to be. So we know bot's top left. We're going to pre-aim at head level top left. So when he turns the corner, there's very little adjustment, right? Less adjustment means easier shot. We know he's on the left, so we're pre-aiming head level on the left. We turn the corner, already aimed at his head, right? These guys are on a slope, so the same way we'd look down on a Torb and up on tanks, right? We're going to look down on these guys, right? Because they're down lower, so when we turn the corner, we're just pretty much already aimed at the head, right? So that's just crosshair placement and how that works. Real quick as well, just so we can explain real quick just the difference between when you should and shouldn't left click
Smart,
into a
don't
flashbang. Basically there's when you do left click into a flashbang is when you can see heads and when you're prepared for it, and when you right click is when you cannot see their head or you're not prepared for the flashbang. So notice on Tracer you can see head whole way around, so we can get the kill. We can hit headshots pretty easily. But on certain other characters, right, like Reinhardt for example, we can see his head from the front, but like anywhere from behind or the side we can't hit headshots, right? Which means the right click is gonna be much more efficient if we're from the sides or behind, right? Whereas if we're in the front, we probably want to left click because it's going to mean that we preserve ammo and we're not having to reload, all of which reloading is going to mean that you're going to not be able to immediately shoot at other things, right?
Yeah.
Now, another difference between the two would be when you're prepared versus not prepared. If like someone sneaks up behind us, we have to do a quick flick around. We might want to right click because we're not ready for it. Whereas if we're premeditating it, like we know we're gonna flash this guy right here, right? We can be pre-aiming ahead level and even like shoot before we do it, so where we can get a very easy kill because we're already ready for it, or we can already pre-aim for it. Right? You can also right click if you're like right on top of somebody because it can be like hard to like flick up to the head if you're right on top of them.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Actually, just as a fun little thing on McCree here, are you familiar with the new McCree tech that McCree has? This is not something that I have attempted to teach someone yet because it's like brand new.
Is it the roll jump thing?
Yeah.
I know of it. I
Yeah.
haven't personally tried it.
Yeah. It's honestly very cool because it allows you to get to places where you could not otherwise have gotten to. Like, let's see. I could do this. Maybe not. I'm trying to think in my head if I would
I,
be able to do that, but you.
I know where you're looking at through the wall there. You can make it on the other side back at the beginning.
What are you saying?
Go to where the training bots you were shooting at before, like the normal ones.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hmm?
Yep. If
Yeah,
you
you make
go,
those
keep
jumps.
going.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen people do that.
Yep. So I mean, it's really just handy new tech to try to learn. Like this, for example, you would not be able to make this, but if I were to do it, which I might not nail first try, but I think I almost did it there. I can't tell if I did. But you know, if you land the tech, you'd be able to do this much more efficiently. But it's pretty. You have to get used to the flow of it. So I'm not kind of into it at the moment. But yeah, like there that was different than the time I did before. So I think that was a normal roll. But you have to kind of get the timing down really fast to where you're pressing jump like the second. Like you know, it's not even the second. It's like the quarter of a second before you're ulting or like that, right? So that
Mhm.
so I did it right there, and then that allows you to just get more height on it. But in any case, let's just continue on. Actually, I'm gonna go over the end stuff here, and then if we have more like time at the end, extra time at the end, then we'll go
Mhm.
back to it. But in any case, right? Let's go over the stuff. So McCree, we just talked about all the flashbang stuff, and
Mhm.
then roll. We just talked about that. So Junkrat, um,
It's a
So I
trap,
think we
perfect
trap,
focused
Mc,
on
yeah.
trap and alting.
Yeah,
And
so we're
then
just gonna we're gonna go do the review along along with everything. So we're just gonna
Mhm.
go over all the different
Mhm.
things, right? So trap, starting off with the abilities, right? Trap, make sure you're using it more often. Use it before you ult. Make sure it's actually participating and being in the fight because it does a whole
Mhm.
lot. It makes people not be able to move. Does half of their health or over half their health, right? And allows you to follow up with damage very easily, right? So we want to just out there doing things.
Mhm.
Mine much better. Make sure I didn't really see us using it that often for mobility still, though we were using it a lot more often to actually secure kills. I would like to see you using it for mobility more. And then also don't like double mine into just for spam, right? Instead try to keep like one of them. No, that's pretty much it. Overall, ability usage looking like probably like a low to medium, maybe even a low. Might even put that at a low. We'll see.
Mhm.
Um, Moving on, ultimate usage. Tire, make sure being sneaky. Big thing with it, right? On top
Yeah.
of using trap too, but make sure that they're not expecting it and they're not sure where it's coming from. So either we need to be sneaky with ourselves or we need to be
Mhm.
sneaky with tire, right?
Mhm.
It being sneaky with ourselves would mean like we can come up here and we're trying to go on these guys. Once we get close, we're gonna crouch spam, and then once we get really close, we're gonna crouch, right? And then we just
Mhm.
drop in tire like straight on their heads, right? But let's say we
Yeah.
didn't have tire yet, so we want to be shooting here to do things, right? We want to be shooting, doing things, but
Mhm.
then when we tire, they all know we're up here, but we're going to like wait a minute with it, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna wait a second, all right, make it confusing as to where it's coming from, or we can take a long wrap around and go for like a weird angle. Oh, I messed that up,
Yeah,
but we can go.
like an aquamarine tire.
Yeah, so we just want to make sure that we're being secretive with it, right?
Mhm.
And they're not sure where it's coming from. Don't be like out in the open when we're doing it, because that's gonna get us killed and
Mhm.
get our tire killed as well, which happened multiple times, right?
Mhm.
Um, and then that overall probably goes up to thinking. I'm like tempted. I'm not sure if I should put that at medium or medium high. For now, let's put that at a medium. Maybe it might be a medium high though. We'll see.
Mhm.
Mechanics, maybe lower sensitivity still. Aiming at head level, crosshair
Mhm.
placement, aiming where we know people are gonna be.
Mhm.
Actions per minute. Make sure we're not just kind of sitting around, not really
Mhm.
doing anything, but we're in there participating and don't take like random 10 seconds out of fights,
Mhm.
right? Make sure we're spamming in between fights. And then I think that should be pretty much it. Just keep on practicing on the aim, especially like on the
Mhm.
hit scan, right? And
Yeah.
then, but then even on Junkrat too. Go ahead.
Should I have the same sensitivity for junk as I would McCree or
On the Junkrat, it's slightly less necessary to have a lower sensitivity, though I would
okay.
still say that having a lower sensitivity on Junkrat is not something that is very harmful in any sense, right?
Okay.
It's I have a low sensitivity on like all my characters. I don't have a different sensitivity for any character I play, and I can play
Mhm.
Junkrat up to a pretty high level, right? And have played Junkrat up to
Yeah.
a high level, right? I could probably like back in my heyday probably could just play him to like 43, 44, right? So and
Mhm.
on a low sensitivity, no problem. So sensitivity is definitely, I'd say, is more important on hit scan, but also is probably just decently helpful in Junkrat as well. But
Yeah, I got you.
continuing on, I think that was most of it with mechanics. So besides that, or that's therefore going probably to like a medium priority. Positioning, big one being just make sure we're not sitting too far away, like we constantly put ourselves too far away. Want to make sure we're
Mhm.
getting closer to the fight. When our team's pushing in, make sure we're pushing in too. We're not just sitting super far in the back on both
Mhm.
defense and offense, right? Um,
Yeah.
And then besides that, honestly, we did a lot better with positioning. There was not much else with positioning. Maybe just taking off angles slightly more often and then repositioning the better positioning. And that's pretty much it. For the most part, positioning was honestly pretty fine. Right.
Okay.
Aware. And then that one probably goes therefore to... Probably gonna put that at a medium, but it's not. I guess no. We're just gonna move ability usage down to a low, and then that to a low to medium.
Okay.
And then moving on, we have awareness, paying attention to our health bar, requesting healing when we need it, right? Making sure that we are not getting super aggressive or whatever when we're low, because we did that a couple times. Paying
Yeah.
attention to like what's going on around us. Where's the enemy team? Where's our team? Who has what ults? Paying attention to our ults. So I think there was a time that you mentioned like where we tried to ult when we didn't have it, right? So just paying attention to our
Yeah.
ult. I don't think awareness did too terrible. It's just kind of odds and ends things, right? Like here and there. And survivability, I don't think it was bad enough to where we, again, more improvement on that, because I don't think it was bad enough to where we needed a category for it, but where like we did last time. But still, just make sure we're trying to look at our deaths and stay alive as often as possible. So awareness probably went to like a low to medium as well. I might even, yeah, honestly, I might like bump up the list a little bit, so like it goes to like mechanics and your ultimate usage go to a medium high, awareness and positioning go to a medium, and then your ability usage goes to a low to medium. Right. So just go over main points. Now let's put that into a list just so you have the final list to work with. So that goes to number 1 probably being your mechanics, number 2 being your ultimate usage, number 3 being your positioning, number 4 being your awareness, and then number 5 being your ability usage. Right? Any questions about anything we've gone over, or just anything else in general?
Nothing really. I mean, I think we've pretty much hammered everything on junk, and then I think McCree is just more so I just need to practice more and more. Really, just I probably don't even have 3 hours in total time played on them, to be honest.
Yeah.
So
Of
yeah.
course, that's definitely going to be a very massive thing when you're just getting good at McCree. Yeah. One thing, just with tire as well is just don't be afraid to use the go longer, because you have 10 seconds on that thing, right? Whereas a lot of times I feel like we're rushing to use it within the first, like, literally the first second or two, right? Is when we're trying to detonate it, right? You don't feel like you have to use it right away, right? A lot of the good tires are used, after a little bit of a wait, right? So that's pretty much it. Same stuff as last time. I'm gonna stop the